Alright, gang, here we go with our next set of notes on the Fertile Crescent, or Mesopotamia, and this is River Civilizations 1. Today we're going to be talking a little bit more about the Sumerians, who were from Sumer, and that's how it's pronounced, Sumer, not summer. Cuneiform, which was written on clay tablets and was used to record gifts brought to the temples, as well as record things like business transactions, religious traditions, or ceremonies. You can see here the difference is you got your object here, a pictogram, which kind of came before, like your cave art type things, and then you have your cuneiform representation. There's the bow. Other achievements, you got the plow, the wheel, irrigation, and the city-state. Religion, polytheistic, belief in more than one god. In Sumer, afterlife was a grim place with no escape. Gods of nature were harsh. Ziggurats were Sumerian temples made out of mud, clay, and bricks. Alright, so the ziggurats were places where the people hopefully could keep the gods happy by offering them gifts. Here again, your ziggurats. These are some of the gods of the Sumerians. Enki, Enlil, An-Ki, Nanan. Gilgamesh, we talked about. We watched that video clip. This is a more modern take on Gilgamesh. Looks like something out of a comic book. And again, that is the world's oldest story. And government. The authority of the government was connected to religion. The governments were led by hereditary rulers called kings. And kings were servants of the gods, which kind of put them underneath a priest. So the priests ran government, and the kings lived to serve the priest as well as the gods and goddesses. Now remember, a government run by a priest is called a theocracy. Very important to remember that Sumer is within this pink area here, between, here's the Tigris right here, Euphrates. So there's many other civilizations that popped up over time in this area. It wasn't just Sumer. Government. Powerful rulers created city-states and then tried to expand into an empire. So a city-state included a city, which you see here, and its surrounding areas, or surrounding lands and villages. A kingdom is a nation run by a king or queen, and an empire is a group of states or a group of city-states and kingdoms or large areas controlled by one ruler. So here you've got a city-state. Some people could also argue that this would also be a kingdom. Kingdoms and city-states generally are smaller than empires. Here's another interpretation. Again, the walls here were used to keep out invaders, protection, public works. Here are some different city-states, and this is what I was talking about. Mouse to work here. All of these areas here, at some point in time, this is the Babylonian Empire, and these little dots here were city-states that the Babylonians were able to take over and control. So this is the Babylonian Empire. Another city-state. Other civilizations. You had the Hebrews, which settled between the Mediterranean Sea and the Jordan River Valley. So here is the Mediterranean Sea. Jordan River is over through here, and this is where they settled. So this little green area here is the Jordan River Valley. And again, this is Southwest Asia in this area. Phoenicia. The Phoenicians settled along the Mediterranean coast, which is part of the Fertile Crescent in Southwest Asia. All right, so we will be talking more about these guys here coming up. But the Phoenicians were obviously very busy sailing around the Mediterranean coastline, establishing ports, and establishing their own empire. Nubia was an empire, a city-state underneath Egypt. It was kind of along the southern Nile, or the southern parts of the Egyptian Empire. along the Nile River. Excuse me. Here we go. All right, political patterns. World's first city-states. The world's first states. Examples are the city-states, the kingdoms, and the empire. You have that centralized government, often based on religious authority. Right, so this might be your priest, and these people here might be, you probably have a priest, then underneath it, the king, and then your other people. Law codes, okay? As civilization developed, things became more complicated, more crowded. You definitely need laws. And one of the first law codes was the Ten Commandments by the Hebrews. And the Ten Commandments obviously is a big part of Christianity, which most people are familiar with. Here they are. Some of them you've probably heard. Thou shalt not steal, not kill, honor thy father and mother. Next was the Code of Hammurabi. And Hammurabi was the Babylonian king, which is right here. And so these people here are being judged for their crimes. And we will talk about Hammurabi in class. We'll look at some of his laws, which were pretty harsh. And if you ever heard the term eye for an eye, that's where that comes from. Religious traditions, again, polytheism was practiced by most early civilizations. Pretty much every civilization, with the exception of the Hebrews, was polytheistic. And speaking of the Hebrews, monotheism was practiced by the Hebrews. So Judaism was the first monotheistic religion. All right. And that does it. If you have any questions, things you don't understand, jot that down. Get your summary done. Key points that you want to focus on or remember: the relationship between government and religion, and locations of civilizations. And look over your unit visual guide to help you with that. If you have any questions, we will definitely talk about all this stuff in next class, and that's when I will see you next.